Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Demon Berserker, and today we're taking a look at a build for Hoffman that I call the Itemmonger. Do you enjoy playing Nightmare and no hope? But maybe you're low life and you're nearly out of rounds, and you're just wishing that you could find that first aid kit or that bandage or some ammo? Then this build is for you. Take matters into your own hands, burn everything to the ground with fire, and like the phoenix rising from the ashes, you can sift through the dust and debris to find that you have spawned forth a luxurious field of items, ripe for the picking. Turn every horde into a bountiful feast of items to replenish your team, and keep going through the toughest of stages. So let's get started and break down this build. So first up, we have Pinata. Killing Ridden with an accessory has a 10% chance to drop an accessory. So this is up first for a reason. It's probably the most important card in the deck, because this card, combined with Hoffman's innate cleaner power, is the generating force behind what's allowing us to spawn items, from killing Ridden with our offensive items like frags, mollies, and pipe bombs. And the second card we have up is the Magician's Apprentice. You have an additional 10% chance to not consume accessories when used. Using offensive items is sort of the bread and butter of this build, so a chance not to use them makes this a very useful card. Not to mention, it also works with all accessories. So that includes support items like medkits and utility items as well, like toolkits. And the next card we have is Double Grenade Pouch. This gives us +2 to offensive inventory slots. So pretty self-explanatory. This is going to allow us to hold even more Molotovs before we run out. And the fourth card is Highwayman. Kills with secondary guns have a 5% chance to spawn ammo, Molotov, or a bait jar. So when you run out of offensive items, you need to be able to get them back, right? This card is the card that allows you to build up your supply again. Another thing to note is that this has to be a pistol category weapon. It's not going to work with 2 is 1 and 1 is none, because then it no longer counts as having 2 primaries. So you have to make sure you are using a secondary weapon, which is any of the pistols. And the next card we have is Bomb Squad. This gives us 1 additional frag grenade that spawns in each map. And it has a team effect of +25% to team explosive damage and 20% to team explosion resistance. So we're mainly using Molotovs, but having more frag power is nice too to take into boards that have mostly bosses, such as Herald of the Worm Part 1 and 2, and the Church at the end of Act 2. So those boards you'll want to bring in a bunch of frags and just take out all the bosses. And the next card that we have is number 6, Offensive Scavenger. You can sense nearby offensive accessories. More offensive accessories spawn, so not only does this add more offensive items into the map for us to use, but it adds a blue glow around any offensive item. So this is actually kind of more important for when you play with randoms. If you have a team you're playing with and they know to leave your offensive items alone so that you can get them, then that's great. But if you're playing with randoms and they're going to be picking up your items as well, so this card really helps to highlight the items that we need, such as Molotovs and frags, and allows us to play a bit more aggressive and rush in and grab them first before our teammates do, since they're going to be highlighted for us. And then we have Improvised Explosives. This adds +75% to accessory damage and -25% swap speed. If you're playing on the higher difficulties, the bosses and mutations start to have a lot more health, so we're going to need more damage. And this also helps your Molotovs to kill ridden zombies quicker, to make sure we get the kills to pop out items, and not our teammates who are often shooting in as well trying to kill the zombies. We want our fire to beat them to the kills. And the 8th card we have is Pyro. This adds 100% more fire damage. We also gain 3 temporary health for each kill with fire. You can sense flammable objects nearby. Since we're mostly using Molotovs with this build, we definitely can't pass up on this card's damage, and the added temp health leech for kills is just an added bonus. It also works well when combined with our next card, which is Phosphorus Tipped. This gives us continuous gunfire, gives an escalating chance to set targets on fire. So we're already running Pyro for the added fire damage for our Molotovs, so it almost feels like a waste to not use this card, right? Now, after shooting through monsters for a while with our bullets, they can begin to catch on fire, dealing damage over time to them, which is now further increased by the previous card that gives us 100% more fire damage. So this also works best with lower damage but faster firing guns. So you'll notice it a lot more if you're using things like the Tech 9 or Beretta, and you're not going to be noticing it often with things like the Magnum and the Desert Eagle that fire slower, stronger damaging bullets. And the next up we have is Hazmat Specialist. This gives us 35% acid resistance, and your bait jars do direct damage to targets and can hit weak spots, and has a team effect of killing mutations that are covered with bait jars, has a 75% chance to create another bait jar. So because of Highwaymen that we talked about earlier, we're already going to be spawning bait jars a lot from killing the normal ridden. So this is just further increasing this usefulness. The direct damage itself is negligible, but the bait jar does stun things for a second when you first hit them with it, and it also kind of seems to slow them down a bit. So with a 75% chance to pop another one, you can sort of just keep chaining them between all the mutations that are spawning. Next up we have Down in Front. While crouching, you neither take nor deal friendly fire damage, and it gives us plus 10 to health. This card is almost mandatory as well for this deck because more than any other, we're going to be dealing a lot of AoE damage with this build. So the last thing you want to do is kill your entire team off with a powerful frag grenade. And it's also important to note that as long as you remain crouched, your teammates can actually sit in or walk right through the fire from your Molotovs. And the next card is Mag Carrier. This gives us 30% pistol/SMG ammo capacity and 10% damage with pistols and SMGs. So to proc Highwaymen, we're mainly going to be using our secondary weapon most of the time. So the extra ammo and the added damage definitely comes in handy. Then we have Glass Cannon. This adds 25% damage, but minus 30% to our maximum health. So for Recruit and Veteran, you can probably take this card out. You won't need it as much, but for Nightmare and No Hope, definitely going to need the added damage. Not to mention, this is for all damage. So it's not just gun damage, but it also includes our offensive accessory damage as well. And for Tala, even includes her bleed damage per tick. Then the next card we have is Wide Mouth Magwell. This gives us plus 30% reload speed, but minus 5% to damage resistance. The next card is Reload Drills. This gives us 20% reload speed and 25% weapon swap speed. We're not using admin reload to swap weapons while we're reloading, so we just want to use our sidearm because the kills with our sidearm is what's going to be proccing the Highwaymen, and we want to proc that as much as possible. And the pistols all seem to also have kind of low mag capacities, so you're going to be reloading quite often. So adding reload speed certainly makes this build feel a lot nicer. So yeah guys, please give this build a look on Nightmare and especially on No Hope when there is just practically no items on any of the levels. This build is really going to start to shine. It helps keep us replenished, it helps keep us supplied, not to mention your teammates are going to love you for it. And if paired with a good doc who can really make use of all that extra healing items, this build is just really going to go a long way. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the notification bell for updates on my latest videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah.